Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Alien Metals investor presentation. Throughout this recorded presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged. They can be submitted at any time simply using the Q&A tab on the right-hand corner of your screen. Please just type in your questions and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question it receives during the meeting itself. However, the company will review all questions submitted today and publish responses where it's appropriate to do so, and will notify you by email when they are ready for your review. Before we begin, we would like to submit the following poll, and if you would give that your kind attention, I'm sure the company would be most grateful. And I'd now like to hand over to Bill Brodie-Good, CEO. Good morning.
Hi, morning, Mark. Thanks very much for the introduction, and morning, everyone out there, be it morning, afternoon, evening. It's great to be here to give you all an update. If you're familiar with Alien Metals already, give you an update of how we're doing, what we're up to, project development, and for those of you who are possibly new to Alien Metals, an introduction to us, who we are, what we're doing. You'll notice as well, possibly if you're familiar with the company, we're sort of updating a little bit, so a slightly new logo, a little bit new branding. I think as we move forward, we're sort of growing and diversifying, so we felt it's an opportune moment to do that. So welcome, and hopefully I can give you a sound update on where we are, and as Mark said earlier, try and answer as many questions as I can to get you fully informed. So here we are, the normal disclaimer. That's all. Again, this presentation will be available on the website after this meeting, and for your perusal at your leisure. For now, just something as a guideline for everyone to look at and hopefully enjoy. So management team, same core management team, other than I think significant addition in Joe Battersill, who's now a new non-exec director for us. Joe started out as a geologist, cut his teeth in Western Australia, and then moved across into the finance side. So he brings a great combination to the team. Really well connected, UK based. So it's a great sort of gives me a platform and keeps me as a technical director. Helps keep my feet on the ground and a bit of guidance on the technical side. Lloyd, as you're aware, is based down in Perth, so he's Iron Ore Company of Australia, sort of country manager, doing a great job. Howard continues as our resource geologist on the iron ore, and is always there with us, supporting the projects. So great team, going well. Market information, as you see on the share price, particularly on the graph on the left, from our recent announcements last week, and hopefully from ongoing and future announcements. Good to see that share price coming back up. We still feel we're undervalued. I suppose that's a personal thing, but considering the projects we have, the possible commodities in the ground. But that's not necessarily for us to say. However, it gives you a summary of where we are at the moment, and again, you can peruse that at your leisure. So we're a project generator. So we're global at the moment. We have projects, obviously Mexico and Australia. They're our main projects. Projects at different levels. So we have sort of early stage exploration where we see potential. There has been some historical work. There is geological situation that we think is conducive for good potential resource. Then we've got a more advanced projects where we're looking at. We've got MREs already in place. We are working those up, improving on them. Scoping studies being done. So several project stages, several stages of project development, and significantly, we do have the people and the ability to do these at different levels rather than just at one particular level. I think that adds to the attraction of the company. So we've got a pipeline of projects that we are developing, monitoring, and moving forward as well. Green iron ore. We've got the green iron ore. We've got the 60+% direct shipping or DSO grade product at Hancock, and we believe at BROCKMAN. Significantly, it might sound strange to people, but green iron ore is actually the way forward for all of us in terms of minimal cost for extraction, minimal processing costs, and all that associates with energy. So essentially, the product we have, you extract it very simply, you deliver it, and you turn it into steel. And as you may be aware, obviously steel is the core of the future for everything. For an electric car will need steel as a platform. Solar panel systems, for example, they need steel. Hydrogen development, nuclear, solar voltaics, wind power, everything is based on steel. So, as a commodity, we feel we're in a fantastic niche for that with our IOCA projects. Then, our other commodities, as part of the green revolution. So nickel, palladium, platinum, copper, silver. There's just some sort of basic statistics. I think, as importantly, if I go to the next slide quickly, what has quite amazed me, if you look at the slide on the left, the graph on the left. Yes, electric cars are the future, and every government in the world has set timeframes that everything should be electric. But it's not going to happen overnight. We're in 2022. There's 30 odd years to get to some of these goals. In that time, there's still a significant number of combustion engines needed. And you see that grey on the graph on the left is combustion engines. It's huge, bigger than EV. And combustion engines, to make them as clean as possible, need catalytic converters. Catalytic converters need palladium. So again, one of the key commodities we feel is significant in our portfolio. And don't forget the copper, the nickel, for the wiring, for the battery systems, everything else associated with the EV technology as well. So again, very much a green. Our commodities are green, and that's we feel we're very comfortable in that circle of work. ESG, so environmental, social, governance. The three pillars to forge a sustainable future. The world is all about now sustainable future. Yet the world needs miners, explorers. We need to keep doing what we do, but we need to do it continue to do it, should I say, in a more responsible fashion. And there is strong guidelines now out there for this area of our work and our industry. So we have obviously the environmental aspects, the social aspects, and the governance. And as Alien Metals, we are now building to be using specifically our projects, the stages that they're at, to apply the necessary E, S, and G, the necessary pillars, the specifics within those to maintain and continue to develop these practices in the company. As the projects develop, should, for example, when hopefully we start mining at Hancock, for example, then we need to do the next step up in terms of all three, essentially. But at the stage we're at, we're sort of focusing on environmental, basically these 6 main points as a core, but looking to develop as we go forward and to maybe integrate with one of the existing sort of protocols and procedures that exist globally that would fit with our projects. Very important, and we are starting to develop that more than we were in the past, and very much aware of it to add to the value and the knowledge and the viability of the company as well, both for ourselves internally and for possible partners who might want to come in and get involved with us with the exciting ride to come. So let's start with Iron Ore Company of Australia. So a future iron ore miner. That's our strategy. We're we've got Lloyd in the team now, focusing pretty much on the mining development side of things. I'm lucky enough to have an exploration team in Australia. We're carrying on doing the work, the resource update, drilling, exploration work, as you'll see. So, we had our maiden resource September last year on a small part of Hancock, I should stress. So, just over nearly 10.5 million tons at 60.4%. A significant, I think, initial resource. It is inferred, but it is JORC compliant. So we're very excited by that project. And I think, as you see, we have the Hancock on the eastern side and the BROCKMAN on the western side. But the BROCKMAN is sort of, I shouldn't say lagging behind, because it's just been the second one out of the block. Hancock, as we've had an opportunity to advance that quicker. BROCKMAN, you will see, is going to come on stream very soon as well, and again add significantly to the project, the overall project economics and potential. We did the initial scoping study on Hancock. That image is sort of a 3D model of from one angle of the Sirius extension ore body. Fantastic ore body. I mean, it's very, very robust ore body, even with the even at the inferred status. We did just put a diamond hole through that as part of our hopefully updating the resource information, which has only, like in the last few days, has been completed. We are drilling out there at the moment. It is tough going though. It's it's the silly season. It's 45 degrees during the day. There's cyclone season. So the guys are doing hard yards, but we're trying to keep the momentum going. I should say we're probably going to scale that down the next few days, give everyone a bit of a break, go back and assess everything we've done, and hit the ground again post cyclone season into the winter down under, which is a perfect period to do exploration, move around on the ground, get lots more work done. Just back on the inaugural scoping study, I mean, less than $30 million capex for the whole thing is quite remarkable when you think we're talking about an iron ore project. Our numbers recently, less than $60 a ton to port. Now, yesterday, I believe iron ore was trading at $148 a ton for the high grade material. So even if we were fortunate to have a product that was selling at $120 or $130 a ton, that's at $50, $60 a ton profit on a base sort of 1 or 1.25 million tons a year. That's a significant return on any investment, and a significant income for the company. I could do a lot with that, to be quite honest, on the exploration projects we have or possible new projects we pick up. So fantastic early stage work. That's just a slide, shows you the resource. I think the significant thing with that, you've got the two ridges, resources at E and C, are much higher grade. So they come in about 61.5, which is even better. The higher grade, the greener, the more in demand, which we've already finding out that this is a sort of product that is sort of top of the tree in terms of demand. And again, the ridges, it's all at surface. You just take off basically there's almost no strip. You're just taking off the high grade from the top, put it in a mobile screening, crushing if you need to, or just you screen it and put it straight in the truck and deliver it to the ship, to the smelter, which is fantastic. So as I talked about, we've sort of touched the surface really at Hancock. I mean, if you sort of have a look at the map, and you can see that I'm trying to find where my pen is. I can't see it, unfortunately, so I apologize about that. But if you get a concept that just these small areas are where the resources are defined, so 10 million tons just from these very small relative areas, and the remaining ridges that we know are iron bearing. I'm not saying they're all high grade, but they all do present as iron ore bearing beds that have been tilted, which is what's formed the ridges. You know, kilometers and kilometers, miles and miles of untested ridges that we think will add significant potential to the project. And as we put in an infrastructure, well, everything's right there. So we just need to, you know, maybe do a sort of a side road, a side haulage road to where we find the next large volume material, and for a minimal cost, and everything else is in place and carries on. So really exciting for Hancock. And actually, Mark, if you can just run, we've got a little video we'd like to show. So Mark, if you're able to kick that off. So this is just giving you a bit of a aerial shot of Hancock. So there's Ridgey, but if you look more in the bigger picture, you can see, yes, it's obviously red earth everywhere, but significant. There's a bit of an outline of the ridges just in that corner, the northwest corner, and I mean a resource only on a few 900 meters of kilometers of ridging. You can see again just incredible number of unexplored, completely unexplored, with huge potential. And on the left of the screen, the blue purpley, I mean, they're ridges we didn't really know were there, and from recent work, they were identified, and they need to be obviously followed up. And there you can see Sonny Newman in the background. There's the rig. We managed to put a couple of holes in on Ridge F, which we haven't tested before. So really excited to see what's going on there. And I think the following, and you can see the new ridges again on the left side of the screen. There's Ridge G, Ridge H. It just goes on. And don't forget again, we're in this corner of the, and that was a nice shot of the rig from above, where we drilled both east and I think north and south, because it looked like there was more maybe a hinge and a fold, which is always a great target, because often that's where you get more concentration and almost a repeat of your original bed. So it just gives you a bit of a flavor what it's like out there. Personally, chomping at the bit to get out there myself. The Western Australian border was due to open on the 5th of February. There's been a slight delay. We're still hoping it'll open soon. And I'm really excited to get down there and, kick some rocks and spend some time with the guys and the girls down there and, work up that project. I think it's all, don't tell my wife, but in a way it'd be like a great holiday to spend a few weeks camping up on those, in those valleys and walking those ridges, taking samples. So on the mining side, mining development, that picture, if you're not aware, that's what's called a surface miner. So basically you see them sometimes on the motorway taking out the old material. That's a sort of possibility of a method of mining at Hancock. We're pushing for shovel ready Q1 next year. Probably a little bit, might be a little bit hopeful for that. So that's what we're aiming for. Realistically, it'll probably be a bit later than that, but there's no harm in having a good solid goal to work to. Lots of discussions in place, main roads for accessing onto the Great Northern Highway, Utah Point at Port Hedland for bunker space for our material or product, design of the main haul road to the Great Northern Highway, mining license, survey, environmental heritage, all those are ongoing. So, and going very well, I have to say, very encouraged by that. I mentioned Brockman earlier. Brockman has been a little bit behind in permitting. We now pretty much got all our heritage permitting done. Went very well just the end of last year. There you can see those are our sort of planned initial phase of drilling, where we believe there is some quite significant, this more Kanga type iron ore, which is often higher grade than the original, as can be seen by some of these grades in the hand specimens taken by the company. Nearly 2 years ago now, scarily, when we did some due diligence work on the ground. But very excited with that one, and that hopefully in the next few months, we'll be there drilling and starting to develop that project as well, which will add significantly. Munni, Elizabeth Hill, again, a fantastic project. Quite different. So PGEs, silver, copper, nickel, also in the Pilbara. So close, but obviously not a stone's throw, but still a great location just outside of Karratha. If you're aware, previously, incredibly historical high-grade silver mine which focused on the high-grade underground fresh rock, fresh mineralization deposit rather than anything at surface. The outline there you can see the focus was on the underground, higher grade underground material, but from an initial non-compliant sort of 4+ million ounce resource, reportedly only produced about 1.2 million ounces from part of the underground workings. So we're very excited that both from an underground and as you'll see next from potential resource, surface resource, which is what we recently reported on, some incredible grades near surface, and not just spotty, 9.7 meters, averaging 8,300 grams. It's just incredible. Probably some of the best drilling intercepts seen in Australia, even globally. We're sort of looking at that in a way from a point of interest. What's significant with these intervals? I mean, 24 meters, essentially the whole hole to the end of hole, sort of averaging 800 grams a ton silver. That's 27 ounces a ton. Huge numbers. But right through this oxide, this sort of weathered, softer material. So and silver being quite a mobile metal, it's showing us that it's moving. It's moved around and made a large, quite a large deposit essentially that we now need to work up. Waiting on the RC results that we did alongside these diamond drilling, and really exciting and just incredible results. But as importantly, very incredibly encouraging for just this part of the project. Let's not forget, this is one part of the Elizabeth Hill Munni project, but a significant part. Again, here's just a little mark, if you don't mind. Again, a small video. It's like a 3D model, which just shows initially how those. So the red is we've understand is the mined out area from the high grade in underground. The grey is more the historical resource that was defined from the historical work, and you can see these are our 3 core drill holes that with these spectacular results. Very interesting. You're seeing there's a trend, a sort of south dipping plunge of the ore body. But what I think is significant is that second hole, hole 3, stopped in ore. It actually ended up, and you can see the RC holes around that we're waiting on the results of at this stage to give us more information and an update. But really fantastic. We believe a fantastic first program. We didn't go crazy and drill everything. We just thought let's do it controlled, do a few holes, have a look what we've got, combine it with the old data, and move forward. And then, as you may be aware, we're in the process, the final throes, we hope, of completing the acquisition of that Munni joint venture project as well. So added to our Munni North exploration license, sort of wrapping around Elizabeth Hill. We are now in the final throes, as you might have seen, in acquiring 100% this Munni joint venture, which includes the Munni historical resource. It is a non-compliant 2004 resource, but at 2.2 million ounces of PGEs and gold, I think, and higher levels, stronger in palladium than platinum, which is sort of unique in these types of deposits, which also piques our interest. I think significantly, this project has not really had much attention for, again, a bit like Elizabeth Hill, for maybe 10, 15, 20 years, that it deserves in a way. And with now the market, the demand in the green commodity market, the change, we see this as a fantastic opportunity, both to acquire this project, to do what we like to think we're doing on Elizabeth Hill, and in a way what we've done on the iron ore to date. But also, we're going to have this huge, really compact, really exciting land holding. I think the first time anyone's held the majority of this area, which includes all of the money intrusion. So we can sort of combine the geology, the modeling, the geochemistry. Excuse me, just ignore that. Sorry. To be able to really work up this area really cost effectively. Yeah, we're very excited, and watch this space. Hopefully that'll be we'll get that over the line as soon as we can, and then really add it. We feel a really fantastic project into the portfolio. And last but not least, in a way, is Mexico. That actually is a shot of Los Campos. And if you get a sense, that's sort of probably nearly a kilometer, and you can see a whole line of old workings all along the main mineralized system at Los Campos, Los Campos, which again, no one's really been there, worked this place since colonial, almost the last century. So again, very. It's nice to be talking about them again and getting back, hopefully getting some news on them very soon. So San Celso, if you recall, again, 2 historic mines, silver mines, again, huge grades. I mean, 2,600 grams, 80 plus ounces a ton grade. And this is silver. It's not silver equivalent, where a lot of projects you see, they report, great numbers, silver equivalent, and you break them down, and it's silver's maybe a third, and then you've got lead and other, dare I say, impurities. That's probably not fair, but whereas this is very much a high grade silver deposits, silver systems, which are in a way typical of this part of the the Mexican belt. The company did quite a lot of underground work on this particular project. Historically, ACA Howe were involved doing due diligence work. This is probably 15 years ago now, but still significant. Averaging samples underground 440 grams out of nearly 100 samples. We feel there's great potential on this. The plan has always been and is still to do some drilling to really start proving this up. We're in the final throes of getting that over the line. I know I've said that before. I can only say that again, that we are working as hard as we can along the right channels in the right way with local communities, with the government departments, environmental department, to get all the permits in place to be able to go and drill that. So watch this space. But again, very exciting. And as I was saying earlier, Los Campos is almost bigger, but less explored. These old shafts are incredibly deep. I don't know if you remember as a kid, sometimes you'd find an old well and you drop a stone in and listen to see how long hit the bottom, see how deep it is. I did that on a couple of these shafts at Los Campos when I was there a couple of years ago. They are quite deep, and we haven't put people in there yet. We felt we better hold off on the funding to do some drilling first. Let's start proving up from the drilling, and then we can look at getting people underground, with a justification of good continuation of grade, thickness, strike extent, which we believe is there. And as you saw from that early picture, somebody spent a lot of time and effort to mine all along this structure, the particular Los Campos structure. And the second one on this image, to the sort of the bottom, the left side of Los Campos, is a second system that really hasn't, other than that one shaft sort of in the center bottom of the image, hasn't been as worked. But we're very excited to be doing that. So again, to be drilled, to be followed up as soon as we can. Donovan 2, let's not forget Donovan 2, copper, gold. We're still very much dedicated to properly testing the copper anomaly that we found probably 3 years ago now in that old water well at the Los Alamos target. It does sit along with a bit of an IP target. There was some drilling done last year by Capstone, who got involved. We no disrespect to Capstone, but we don't feel they drilled in the right place, and hopefully we're going to drill in the right place. So we're finalising that to get that going again, and really find what we believe is some significant potential, another VMS body down there. That let's not forget Tech San Nicolas is only 20 k's away, and these VMSs appear as plumes. So there's several of them altogether. So look, as a summary, experienced management team. I'd like to think a great geological team as well. We're not afraid to use external consultants who might have more experience in certain aspects of the work we're doing, and you have to do that. We don't know it all, so we'd like to think the right people to help us in our journey. We've got some great projects. I mean, I think you almost feel we've sort of got like three excellent projects that each one could be in its own right a company maker, and we feel we've got three. If I sort of lump Elizabeth Hill Money as one, IOCA as two, and the Mexican projects as three, I think we're moving them forward. We're great commodities as well. All of them have the great commodities that we see a huge future in for the world, which helps all of us as well. So it's good to be able to do that as well. Great jurisdictions. Australia doesn't really get much better than Australia. Mexico, great jurisdiction. Great mining history as well. Great workforce, as I've said in the past. So we feel very comfortable with where we're working. We are now developing our ESG to bring us sort of more up to speed. It's not that we haven't done that in the past. I think it's now more being aware of it and having sort of more stronger budgets and planning for that purpose. I think we're moving in the right direction. We're working hard. We're combating still the limitations of the pandemic, which I hope that everyone out there is managed well and coming through all safe and sound. And I think we shall keep doing what we're doing and keep you up to date. So I think there's quite a few questions. I'll try and answer as I can.
That's great, Bill. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time and presenting to investors this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please do continue to submit your questions using the Q&A tab situated on the right-hand corner of the screen. Just while Bill takes a few moments to review those questions submitted already, I'd like to remind you the recording of this presentation, along with a copy of the slides and the published Q&A, can be accessed via your Investor Meet Company dashboard, and we will send you an email when they're ready for your review. And obviously, Bill, I think just given the number of investors that we have on today's call, along with the 20 or so pre-submitted questions, we won't be able to get through all the questions, but of course the company will review all the questions and we'll publish those responses where it's appropriate to do so. Well, Bill, as I've just said, investors did have the ability to pre-submit questions. So perhaps if I may, I'll start off the Q&A with a few of these, and perhaps the first one to start off with, which project do you think will give a revenue stream first, Hancock or EH?
Look, I think it's all about just moving in the right direction. So as I said, we're sort of looking to be shovel ready at Hancock next year. Now, I've put Q1, or we've sort of talked about Q1 as a goal. That might not be the reality of it. I think the essential thing with Hancock is the permitting. We've got to make sure we have all our necessary permits in place. It's going well, but we will, we'll update the market and update ourselves as we move forward. We know what we've got at Hancock. We've got to start. So talking to possible offtake partners or joint venture partners already. There's that one's probably, it's a simpler project to start a revenue stream. Elizabeth Hill, we're currently, and I didn't mention earlier, we're currently still working on dewatering and getting back down the mine, the old underground mine. Now, I've got no idea what we're going to find down there. I suppose I have this vision of a bit like from a Disney movie. We go down there and it's like all sparkling with lots of silver that they never managed to get, that we can pretty much start extracting at a very early stage. I don't know. That's a more unknown. So I would say, well, I just don't know. We've just hit a fantastic resource, incredibly high grade near at surface, hit at Elizabeth Hill as well. Maybe that becomes our first one off the rank. We do a small open pit, to take out a significant amount of silver from a very small volume of material in early stage. So, yeah, we're working towards both. And look, you never know, but we might even be doing something in Mexico in a year's time that will surprise everybody as well. So watch this space, I suppose.
That's great. Thanks, Bill. Just turning on to listings, really. And will there be an IPO on ASX or IOCA?
Yeah, a lot of acronyms there. We're looking at all options. Okay, we created IOCA, so Iron Ore Company of Australia, as a sort of subsidiary of Alien Metals. It's as much for reporting, accounting, but also because it's iron ore, it's quite specific. So that gives us an option. Should there be a joint venture partner who want to come in and say, "Hey guys, I'd like to, get involved in the project, but I'm not interested in silver or Mexico, or whatever it might be." Or indeed, it could be that we already have like the company in place with the assets in the company, and then it's easier to spin. So into a listing. We're looking at all options. It is an option on the table. Honestly, I'd love to be able to educate our AIM market and our sort of investors this side of the planet better on the asset, on the iron ore asset, because I think it is a fantastic project, very simple one as well, that could, if we get that support locally, we just drive it on ourselves. So it's a possibility, yes.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed, Bill. I might take a question from Deepak. Thank you very much indeed for submitting your question. And it reads as follows. Hi, Bill. It seems that Mexico is becoming less attractive as a mining jurisdiction for various reasons, such as community relations, security, and political uncertainty. What are your thoughts on these areas, and can you provide an update on your activity there?
Well, hopefully I answered a little bit in the presentation. Look, jurisdictions and political stability, it moves around all the time. I mean, I spent many years in West Africa. I was sitting in Conakry when the coup took place many years ago, and we could hear the gunfire in the background, and the military took over and kicked out the president and announced they were changing the rules. And within 6 months, it was all back to normal. So as normal as can be. But I think, look, the projects, as I say, I'm trying to get that drilling done as soon as we can. We're in the final hurdle, but it's sort of like we can see the finishing line now to get those final permits in place. So I think we push ahead because they are potentially great projects. They're not going to change the world, but if we've got 20-30 million ounces between them of good high-grade silver in a very strong mining jurisdiction with the skill to mine and process these types of ore bodies really efficiently and cost effectively, then I think we just keep going.
That's no problem, and that's not me calling you Bill, just in case.
Sorry,
But
I know.
it's okay.
That's
Absolutely, please don't worry. The next question is from Sam. Maybe it's Sam. You never know. Good morning, Bill, and thanks for all the hard work you and the team are doing. It's a great job. Amazing results on first drill holes. Most definitely world class. How many holes are we expecting back soon? And if the results look good, will you be looking to entice a JV with a major or mid-tier minor to prove up together?
Yeah, no, thanks for the question. Yeah, I mean, I have to say they're better than we expected, the results in a way, but this is why you've got to go and, you've got to go and drill. I mean, step by step. As I said, I could have quite easily put in another 50 holes, sort of quite blind, but we've done it this way. We're expecting about, I think it's 15 RC holes, which is spread some, if you recall from the image from the model, there's about another 7 or 8 around the ore body itself, the ore body. But we also did a couple of holes I think 4 holes to the north, so a few hundred meters north, looking at testing this more larger zone that we believe exists around the high-grade silver pods in the middle, and some holes to the south, and a couple of holes on at the beginning of the J reef, further round to the east. And I should just say in the presentation, there's a few more slides in the back in an appendix that have a little bit more information on. There we go, on the list. A little bit more on palladium, the importance of palladium. A good old, it's a tried and tested image from BROCKMAN as well that we've used in the past, and but I think it's still very relevant and part of what we're planning. And then a little bit more on the Elizabeth Hill, the J reef, the other areas we've looked at, the recent trench sampling results, which shouldn't be forgotten because they are quite significant as part of one of the second targets at Elizabeth Hill, being this J reef, basically a PGE target, PGE base metal system that is associated more with the bigger money intrusion. But yeah, I'm looking for partners always. I mean, we're a junior company. We got great support. We recently did a very successful fundraising, but we have to be realistic. We have to look at possible partnerships. And absolutely, as we do the work and prove up, hopefully successfully and competently, what the potential is of these projects, we can make it aware to certain parties if that's what they like. And I'm sure there are, and I think there are a couple out there already who will go, well, actually, yeah, that's something we want to have a slice of. So, or the whole cake, I don't know. So yeah, we're definitely talking or open to talking to people about the projects.
Thank you, Bill. There was a pre-submitted question. When can we expect completion of the Hamersley 90%?
Yeah, that's I was actually just before this just having a chat with the lawyers. It's unfortunately some of these things, they just take longer than one would like, because they have to go through all the necessary regulatory processes, and so I'm hoping the deal is done. It's just not sort of the final signature on the bottom of the page. So there's no change in the parameters. We just need to get that done. So to be fair, we have kept our lawyers quite busy with the money transactions and the Elizabeth Hill from last year. So we will. I'm hoping as soon as we can get it done and over the line, then we can just move on. But it's done in principle. It just needs that final sign off from a legal aspect, really.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks very much indeed. There were a couple of questions around funding. I mean, if I just select this one just as an overview, really, given that the company has several projects underway in Western Australia at present, does the company have enough funding to sufficiently test current sites until the end of 2022?
Yeah, well, as I said, we had a very successful fundraise end of last year, and we still had a little bit in the pot. We had some quite a sizable option uptake, I think a couple of weeks ago, which had a little bit more. So we, and the budget we have is basically covers some quite significant work for all the projects for 2022. And obviously, while we're talking to other parties, should another party get engaged in either one of the projects or all the projects, then that changes the dynamics, because if they're bringing in some funding, we can then move some of that funding originally planned for Project A across to one of the other projects. So, but we've got funds in place to do quite a lot of work this coming year for sure.
That's great. Thank you. What I might do is turn to a question from John D. Thank you, John, for your question. Is there an option to run Elizabeth Hill ore to early production on a ore tolling basis, given the high grade shallow mineralization and spare processing capacity at, for example, Artemis Radio Hill?
Look, everything, we only just sort of got these results last week, so but really exciting. Good question, John. Yeah, as I said earlier, maybe we go, we take a shallow open pit, super high grade ore body quickly in the coming months. For the Radio Hill plant is there at obviously just up the road. That I can't answer the question in terms of its functionality at the moment, nor its ability to process this type of ore, because each plant is designed for normally a specific type of ore. So the metallurgists get involved and they say you need to do X, Y, Z to get from the rocks and the dirt you put in at one end and your product at the other. Your concentrate or your gold or your silver, whatever it might be. So, but a very good question, and we're looking at options at the moment. To be frank, we need to do some more work, some more drilling. Spectacular results. We need the RC other results to come in, and then we need to go back and say, do we consider doing more a grid? We need to drill it out better to finalize the resource, to work up the numbers. But yeah, it's everything's possible, and absolutely with Radio Hill down the hill, up the road, should I say, it's definitely a possibility. So we're looking at, as ever, we look at all options and think outside the box a bit if we can as well.
That's great. Malik, if I may turn to Malik's question. Thank you, Malik. With such huge grades you've just hit at EH, to what extent does this change the picture of the historical resource in your view? It looks to be massively upgraded.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is the thing. The historical resource, from what we've seen and can find, talks about 900,000 ounces in the oxide. So in the surface, sort of above, I think it was 45 meters below. So from surface to 45 meters depth. However, in several reports, sort of written reports and discussions, it does talk about very limited drilling in the oxide. So therefore, they feel even from the historical previous people working there felt it was under tested, and therefore probably could be increased significantly, the oxide resource. I think from what we've just done and what we've just drilled, that's the case, that there is a significantly more silver than potentially was previously reported. However, as I've said again or earlier, we would have to decide if there's significant value in moving some funds to say drilling out that oxide area at the moment, or is there more value in once we get underground, doing some drilling for underground? We might be able to do both. That's going to be a subject of, it's planning. It's and if we get a nice partner who says, hey guys, here's a good chunk of investment to do both, then that's an option too. But yeah, I think the other thing is, interestingly, that it was probably hard to see on the video, but the grey area was the historical sort of outline of the resource done from the historical work. But we feel already we've got more data, higher grade material outside that initial model. So I think, we feel there's a lot more there, and not just silver either. I mean, don't forget we got significant copper nickel, cobalt, zinc associated with both the silver mineralization and slightly with the geological contact as well. So, which was never really looked at. Everyone ever talked about was silver. You never saw reference to nickel, copper, cobalt historically. But now, and that's part of what we're looking at too.
That's great, thank you. In fact, two questions came through almost at the same time, one from Mohammed and the other for Dan around Greenland. Can you copy on what is planned or what is happening with Greenland?
Yeah, no, I suppose I in a way I would do Greenland a misjustice because we didn't really mention it. Greenland was an opportunity that before my time was applied for. It's a great project, but we don't have the capacity to really work in Greenland. If we did, I mean, I'd love to. Personally, I would love a chance to go and do some work in Greenland, but we're too stretched. We couldn't do that. Therefore, essentially, we're looking for for someone to take that project on. There's no real value in us doing anything. We kept up. We maintained its integrity for 2021. So we're now looking at finding someone who'd be interested to take it, because it does sit around probably one of the biggest zinc deposits in the world that the Ironbark have, and has great potential. It's just not for alien.
Perfect. I'm probably going to pronounce it incorrectly, so I apologise in advance, but this is a question from Deepak. Hi, Bill. With regards to MUNNI or MUNNI, we know the team have highlighted a significant number of targets in the northern area around the Elizabeth Hill and have plenty of targets being considered, and we're finalising paperwork to allow trenching and drilling in conjunction with current mapping and surface sampling. And all are being completed. Can you please update us on further plans once the planned acquisitions have completed with the larger combined area?
Yeah, no, thanks. Indeed, we have got significant targets across, the Elizabeth Hill mining lease, across the MUNNI North exploration lease, and sort of already as part of our studies before, even though it wasn't part of the remit, but it all combines with the whole MUNNI intrusion, the geological intrusion, where everything gets its name from down there. With the Hunter Reef, that is mainly the main source of the MUNNI platinum group element resource, but also that dips in and out of our existing ground. And obviously, when the completion, hopefully, of that acquisition is done, then it's all our ground, and we don't need to worry about lines on a map. We just then start filling in. We can do the whole thing in one sort of big sweep, which would be fantastic. So we're again. There have been some delays on these POWs, these permits of work in Western Australia. They have been severely shut down, and sort of against the pandemic, and it has impacted on that. So we're trying to get those. We will get those permits soon. Again, that part of the world, it's not a good time to be in the field now. The guys are trying to work on the opening up the mine. We're going to have a small camp in place once that's done as well. And at the moment, sort of post Easter is like the sort of target date when we hope the Easter Bunny will open the border for us. We can get back in. The weather's it's a great time of year to be up there. If anyone gets a chance to go to the Pilbara in sort of June or June, July, August, it's the best time to be there from our point of view for working. You can move around really easily. It's comfortable. So we're working on those. That's all part of the bigger picture. It just takes time, and we can't, it's supply and demand. It's focusing certain aspects of a project, but it's still all there and on. It's just a case of where do we go next and what do we test next.
That's great. Mohammed asks, is there any possibility to go to commercial on any single project independently or through JV in Australia in 22?
when you say commercial, I'm assuming you mean production. I don't think 22 is going to be. We're going to achieve that in 22. I think we still have to remember the world is still coming out of. Well, I say coming out of pandemic. It's still with us. So there are still significant restrictions and delays in everything. I think I did see a question earlier about the laboratory delays. That's something we just have to work with and manage. On that question, we looked at even shipping samples from Australia to Ireland. There's a OMAC or ALS in Ireland, a very, very well known and well used industry laboratory there. We were even considering shipping, a couple of tons of samples from Australia to there, but to speed up the process. However, there's hardly a flight out of Western Australia anymore, so you can't. Your capacity to do that is incredibly diminished. The cost has gone through the roof, so actually we sort of manage accordingly. So I don't think we'll get commercial this year. Certainly, if we get the opportunity to have a partner engaged and on board, that's we're already trying to do that or talking to parties on that, mainly on the iron ore because there's a lot of interest now. People are aware of us and aware of the projects and the quality of the product. So, but I don't think it'll be commercial in terms of production this year. I'd like to say 23.
That's great, Bill. Thank you very much indeed. I suspect we could be going here for quite some time. For every question I ask you, another one appears to come through. So firstly, thank you to all the investors that have submitted questions. And of course, we'll review all the questions submitted today. And if there's any other responses that will be provided, we'll notify you accordingly. Bill, I know investor feedback is particularly important to you and to the company, and I'll shortly redirect investors to give you their thoughts and expectations. But perhaps before doing so, I could ask you just for a few closing comments to wrap up with.
Okay, well, look, thanks, Mark, and your team as well. Thanks everyone who joined. As I say, you can get a copy of the presentation on the website. I think it's super exciting times for Alien. We still, I'm obviously going to say we feel undervalued with the quality of the projects we have in the jurisdictions we're in, with the commodities we've got, and the team as well. I'm confident great things for the company for 2022 and beyond. We appreciate all the support we get, and I know we can't satisfy everybody, but we do our best to make this a successful company with successful projects, which I believe we will, and we are doing, and we will going forward. So thanks again for your time today.
That's great, Bill. Thank you once again for updating investors this afternoon. Could I please ask investors not to close this session, as we'll now automatically redirect you for the opportunity to provide your feedback in order that the management team can really better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete, but I'm sure will be greatly valued by Bill and the team. On behalf of the management team of Alien Metals PLC, we'd like to thank you for attending today's presentation. That now concludes today's session, so good morning to you.